All right, today we're going to talk about a business model that, honestly, almost seems like it shouldn't be possible. Imagine building a multi-million-dollar company by selling a real, physical product, but one you never actually have to make, or store, or even ship yourself. Let's dig into how that actually works.
I mean, really, let that sink in for a second. No factory, no warehouse full of dusty boxes, no packing tape or trips to the post office. It's just you, a computer, and a really smart idea. It sounds like a total fantasy, right? But for one brand, it's a reality, and the numbers are just staggering.
$8 million. No, that's not a typo. That's the real revenue one brand, a company called Letterfest, has pulled in on Etsy using this exact business model. And the crazy part is, this isn't some lightning-in-a-bottle fluke. It's a repeatable, brilliantly executed strategy.
And that's exactly what we're going to do in this explainer. We are going to completely deconstruct this system. We're going to dive into the customer psychology, the business model itself, and, of course, the surprisingly simple AI tools that make the whole thing tick.
Okay, so first things first. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of how they do it, we have to understand why it works. I mean, why are people willing to spend so much money on these things? Well, it all comes down to some really powerful human psychology.
And here is the absolute key to this whole thing. They are not selling paper and ink. They are selling a moment. They're selling an emotional experience. Just imagine, when a little kid sees their own name as the hero of a story, that's not just a book anymore. That's a core memory. It becomes a treasure that sits on their shelf forever.
This whole model is so effective because it taps into three fundamental human triggers. First, emotion just steamrolls logic, especially when parents are buying something for their kids. Second, the demand is what we call evergreen. Kids are always having birthdays, holidays come around every year, you get the idea. And third, and this one's fascinating, is a driver we can call guilt pricing. It plugs directly into that deep-seated need every parent has to provide the absolute best, which often means being willing to pay a premium to feel like they've really done enough.
And if you need proof, just look at this price tag. $247 for one book. That's what Letterfest can charge for one of their high-end, personalized books. It's proof positive that people aren't paying for the paper. They're paying for the feeling. It's a pure emotional investment. Okay, so the psychology totally makes sense. But how do you actually build a real business around these emotional triggers? How do you, operationalize these feelings? Well, it all rests on three core pillars. First up, pillar number one, deep personalization. We're not just talking about the child's name here. We're talking their age, their hometown, even a custom message from their parents. That creates this intense feeling of, this is mine. Pillar two is a laser focus on premium quality, beautiful hardcover books, gorgeous high-resolution printing. That's what makes the high price tag feel justified. And pillar three? Well, it's that genius-level brand positioning. They don't sell books, they sell keepsakes. Yeah, this slide just nails the heart of their strategy perfectly. On the one hand, what are they selling? A kid's book. But on the other hand, what are people actually buying? A lifelong keepsake, an emotional memory. That simple, tiny shift in positioning, well, that's the whole game right there. All right, now for the part that honestly feels like a magic trick. How do they create these beautiful, personalized, premium products without a whole team of writers, illustrators, and a printing factory? Well, this is where a simple and totally accessible three-tool AI system comes into play. And let's be really clear about this. This kind of system completely demolishes the old barriers to entry. You don't need a huge pile of cash for investment. You don't need a specialized art degree. You just need to know how to connect the dots between a few incredibly powerful tools. So, here it is, the digital assembly line. It's literally just 3 steps. First, you use a tool like ChatGPT to write the story. Second, you use an AI image generator to create the art. And third, you plug it all into a service called Gelato, which handles all the real-world physical stuff. Let's break each of those down.
Think of ChatGPT as your personal, on-demand story writer who never gets tired and never needs a coffee break. You feed it a really well-crafted prompt, and it can generate a complete 28-page children's story, hitting the exact tone you want with all the little placeholders for personalization already built right in, all in a matter of minutes. The creative bottleneck of writing, it's just gone.
Next up, the visuals.
AI image generators are basically your digital illustrator. You can define a consistent, whimsical watercolor style, create unique characters, and generate beautiful, high-resolution, print-ready images for every single page. This used to be the most expensive and time-consuming part of a project like this, and now it's done with a few clever prompts.
And finally, Gelato. This service is the absolute backbone of the entire no-inventory model. It's a print-on-demand company. So when a customer places an order on your Etsy shop, you just send the personalized digital files over to Gelato. They print the high-quality hardcover book, they package it, and they ship it directly to your customer's door. You never even have to see or touch it.
So the tools are obviously powerful, but let's be real. Tools are just tools, right? Owning a hammer doesn't make you a master carpenter. The real secret sauce here is using these tools with a brilliant strategy, especially on the platform where all the customers are already gathered.
And Letterfest's Etsy strategy is just a masterclass. First, their choice of platform was perfect. Etsy is the go-to place for unique, personalized gifts. Second, they nail their SEO, using titles that people are actually searching for. Third, their product mockups are amazing. They don't just show the book. They show happy families enjoying the book. They sell the feeling. And finally, they make the whole personalization process incredibly simple for the customer. Zero friction.
This quote here from the creator of a similar business really says it all. That initial execution is paramount. That first, perfect example of the book, the one that shows up in the search results, that's what gets the click, builds trust, and ultimately makes the sale. Rushing that step is a fatal error.
So, if you take just one thing away from this whole deconstruction, let it be this. This is not an AI business. It's a human psychology and branding business that just happens to use AI as a tool for incredible leverage. The success comes from understanding the customer's emotional needs and then just executing that strategy perfectly. Which kind of leaves us with a fascinating big picture question to think about. In a world where AI can automate the actual creation of content, and even physical products, what does it really mean to be an entrepreneur anymore? Maybe the new role isn't about being a maker, but about being a master strategist, a connector of tools, and an expert in human emotion. Definitely something to think about.